Hey everyone, so we qualified for the major, as you probably saw. I'm incredibly happy about it, but I decided to make this video to give you a little bit of a update or like some general feedback of what has been going on in the team and in my head lately. I just arrived basically 2 days ago home, so this is kind of fresh, but there's definitely a lot of emotions, or there was a lot of emotions coming into the whole RMR and the whole qualification to the major. I really couldn't put it into words when I was living it, and those emotions were overwhelming at times. But now that I get to chill a little bit for a few days and relax, realize, let the dust settle, so to speak, I really wanted to share that it's not been easy and maybe some hardships that we were experiencing as a players. I think it's important to talk about it because these things are not often talked about by pro players, and I felt like sharing this might be pretty good and valuable lesson to some of you that at some point will try to qualify for big events or try to go pro, and yeah, you get to be prepared for it. So I want to talk about probably like 3 most difficult things about past 2 months. I'm going to generalize past 2 months as a preparation for the actual RMR. In February, we qualified for RMR through a closed qualifier, and ever since the preparation has been basically just to qualify to the major. We've been putting everything else on the sideline, despite us playing like some tournaments here and there and some qualifiers here and there. The major was the main point of the whole roster, whole organization, and everyone had that in mind mainly. So the difficult thing, number 1, I would say, is definitely the pressure. So let's talk about pressure because it comes from all different angles, and I decided to write it down as a pressure from an organization, so to speak, for the first one. Obviously Apeks, the organization we represent right now, they have made it very clear that getting to the major is the main point of the whole organization. We've been trying to do it ever since I arrived to the lineup, and they went international with their teams, so that's almost over a year now actually. Yeah, we failed in 2022. We failed both qualifiers. First one with the Stadion and Chelsea, then the one with Shocks, me being IGL. It was pretty rough, but so I'm really happy we managed to do it right now. I think Apeks, they really understood how difficult it is to get to these tournaments and how hard it is to qualify. So I believe that they are content, you know, with how it all went, how the preparation went, how the changes in the team led to this success. But definitely the pressure from the organization, you can always feel it as a player. You represent the club, you want the best for the club, they want the best for you. You're in this, you know, collaboration with each other that you want to perform the best you can. However, sometimes it just doesn't go your way. Obviously, like there are a lot of good teams, they want to qualify, and there's only so many spots to get to the major. So this was the first pressure. Now, pressure number 2 is definitely pressure from the fans. You can kind of learn how to block this by, you know, not living on social media and try to ignore it, but still it sometimes gets to you to the point where you want to make your closest fans, closest friends, family, they're the biggest fans essentially, so you want to make them as proud as possible, obviously. Sometimes it's just difficult if you're slumping and you cannot deliver, and the team just falling flat all the time during the tournaments, and these expectations, you know, they get to you because you spend some time with these people, with the close friends and family, and you have nothing to show off, you know. They've been cheering for you and you're not really performing. That's really hard. So I'm really glad that I get to come home now and actually like show the accomplishments we've made, and we made it to Paris. It's kind of a healthy pressure, I would say. So it leads you to perform better, but you have to be ready for it. You can't ignore it. It can fuel you to be a better player. It's just sometimes too difficult to maintain, you know, this level-headed and cold-blooded emotions under the surface. I've been used to it, but I know some young players, they struggle with it. They want to perform and show their family and friends that they belong to the best teams in the world, but sometimes you let those people down, and it's hard to come back from that. That's definitely one of the pressures, or pressure number 2. And then number 3 is pressure on yourself, and this is probably the most difficult one because it's all happening in your head. Not a lot of people can see it, only you can fight it, you can deal with it. It's really hard to see into someone what they're doing when they're putting pressure on themselves. This has been something that I've been trying to work on for the past couple of years, putting pressure on myself and living in emotions that are not really helping me perform better or perform my team better. Added pressure to this event was definitely that the CSGO is coming to an end, and this is going to be last CSGO major. CSGO has been basically my life for the past 8 years or so. Ever since I became pro player, it made me a lot of friends. I travel the world thanks to this. It's my livelihood. I've made a lot of money. I've made an experience that are going to be there with me till the rest of my life. And I wanted to be a part of the last major, obviously, as much as I wanted to be part of any other major. But last major is, it's arbitrary. You really want to go there, and the legacy just lives on. So this has been another pressure factor that I had to deal with in order to be in a peace of mind state to play well on the server, hit my shots and be focused. And it was always in the back of my head that I want to go there. It happened so many times to me that the major slipped away by a map or so. I can remember 3 instances on top of my head that this happened, and I didn't want this to happen again, and I did everything I could to help my team and my organization to reach this level. So the pressure has been insane, and it has taken a really huge toll on me as a person, on any other player. It's just the thing, I think every player feel this. The thing is, not a lot of players talk about it, because either they don't know how to put it into words. It's really difficult to talk about emotions when you're like not a psychiatrist or something like that. You're not from the field, and it's just hard to speak your heart when you're talking about something that you don't really fully understand yourself. Moving on to difficult thing, or the most difficult thing, second most difficult thing, is definitely the emotional roller coaster. Since we qualified in February to the RMR, we went through a huge slump as a team. We were struggling individually, but also as a team. The atmosphere at times wasn't really good, but it's been a grind, all I can say. And we just got out of this slump, I would say probably days before RMR, which is incredible. Bootcamp before the RMR was the like focal point or the moment where it all broke down, and we actually put our mind into correct mindset. And bootcamp itself, it was super bad. Like, our results were horrendous. We lost probably like 80% of the scrims. We weren't even practicing the best teams in the world. It was just tier 2, tier 3, and we were just trashed over and over again. And we realized that we have to do something. We can't go like this into RMR. Like, the results didn't matter that much because we knew that we can play much better, but we had to actually find this betterness in ourselves before we traveled to RMR. Otherwise we would be in a huge trouble. And I remember I took a lead on this discussion, kind of show the experience as a player that I have been to few majors. Some of my teammates haven't been to one, so I try to show the initiative here. I remember I was fighting a lot of bad emotions, like self-doubt and anger and fear, and at some points I had to like almost pretend to be confident to spread like a good mood into the team and show the confidence to others as well, to maintain this balanced atmosphere in the team. And I think it helped, honestly. I think we really got back on track thanks to that talk, and we said, like, what's the worst that could happen? We did something that we call as a negative visualization. Try to, pretend the worst possible outcome at the RMR, and we're slumping and we're not hitting shots and we're terrible. Like, this is something that helped us a lot. So this emotional roller coaster for past 2 months, going from qualification to RMR into the slump, then getting out of the slump just basically hours before the actual RMR, thanks to the simple talk, is something that takes a heavy toll on you, because it feels like you're stuck. It feels like you're not progressing. It feels like you're regressing at times. It feels like you're not doing something right. Even focus points, what to really practice, how to prepare for the tournament. When we've done it a million times before, it was just not showing, and it was insanely difficult for you to maintain this confidence and this belief that we are actually going to the tournament to qualify. Well, however, we came to the RMR and we qualified. So this is This is a part where I'm not going to talk as much because I believe like probably you watched Apeks vlogs where we followed each other for the whole duration of 4 days or 5 days or 7 days or whatever. We were at Copenhagen in Denmark. So I'm not going to go into detail there because it wasn't even the difficult part or the third or second or first most difficult part that I want to talk about. The actual RMR and the playing was not difficult. We felt always in control. We played really good teams. We played really good individuals. We played FaZe. We played Bad News Eagles. We lost both of those best of ones, but they are on the paper like insane aimers, and we have never felt that we are being out-aimed, outplayed. We were confident. Yes, we were losing, but that's Counter-Strike. Like, you will do mistakes, you will lose some rounds, and you will win some. But we always felt that we will qualify no matter what. And I think it was partially because of the talk I mentioned at the bootcamp. The confidence was just, you know, all-time high. Even when we were 1-2, I remember going into the Sprout game, it was fairly close game when you look at the score, 16-11, 16-11 on both maps. However, not a single time during the game I was thinking like, damn, like, are we really gonna lose this or something? Like, I was just playing and I knew that we will get 16 sooner than they will. I felt the same in the bait game, which was our decider. We were playing third overtime on Vertigo, and it was just not coming to my head that we are not going to lose. Even though they had like match points or whatever, or map points, I'm sorry. But it was never coming to my mind that I was feeling, all right, that's enough. I think we're moving on to the second map. So this is not something that I want to talk about. I want to actually talk about the aftermath. So what happened after the RMR? It's funny because you're already qualified, you're cheering, you're celebrating, you're already at the major, and this is still something that was so difficult for me. Well, let me tell you why. The actual hit came after we qualified, and I mean like literally hours after we qualified. We were thinking, you know, for days how we're going to celebrate, how we're going to have fun, how we're going to spend the night in Copenhagen and have drinks, whatever, like celebrate that we're at the major. I remember when we did it, once we qualified, we came to the hotel and we were legit dead. Like we were almost like zombies in a hotel lobby. Like, it was insane how tired we were. Like, I remember some of us had to take a nap, and even after the nap, we felt like there's no way we're going out. Like, we could barely walk. Legit, we were exhausted. 2 days after I arrived home, which is today, I slept for like 20 hours in total in the past 2 days, and I've been at home. I have barely had any energy to go outside, to visit friends, to visit family. I haven't seen my family yet. This is first thing basically I'm doing since I arrived home, is doing this video because I get enough energy and enough like positive vibes for me to actually turn on the camera and talk to you guys. I have never been more tired in my career probably. Now this is the first time that I feel all right, and this is why I'm doing this. I realized thanks to this that the relax and break is so important. For the past 2 months, my body has been literally filled up with adrenaline, with stress, with focus. You don't feel like you need to relax because you can't relax. If you relax and you don't qualify for the major, you're gonna blame those days that you relaxed almost, because you could have done more, you could have done better, right? But you don't feel these needs to relax or to have a break. But once those things are like adrenaline and you know, stress is gone, you absolutely must take a step back and take some days off, because otherwise you will just break down. And this is where I read somewhere in the book, and I think G2 performance coach mentioned this on Twitter as well, where post-LAN sickness, we know what we're talking about. Like, you come from an event home and you suddenly get sick and you're sick for a week or something. So this is happening for a reason. Like, your bodies and bodies of every player, they come under so much stress during the competition and during the tournaments that they're so exhausted after a time they just give up. You almost like want to get sick in order to body to recover itself from the sickness, right? So I have felt the same. Like, I have never felt worse, despite me trying to celebrate and being happy about this about the qualification. This was such a hard 2 days, and I thought that, well, that's it. Like, we're gonna come back home and practice, and we will have no more official games. It was legit impossible for me to even turn on the Counter-Strike. Like I could not think straight. And I think it's important to talk about these things because this is what I've been talking about on this channel as well. Like if you feel like you're doing well and you want to perform better, there's no way in hell that you want to take a step back and actually relax and like revisit or reflect on what you're doing, because you feel it, you want to go and you push harder, right? This tournament showed me that it's gonna take a huge toll on you, on your body and on your mental, to the point where sometimes you might be really close to like anxiety almost. And I want to avoid that at all costs. Anxiety, burnout, something that I've been like fiddling with in the past. I almost felt to the point of a burnout in my career, and I don't want to ever happen again, because it was like the point where I thought, okay, am I good enough? Am I gonna keep playing? Is it time? Is it over for me? Like, am I even going to perform good against bad teams? Like I was really doubting myself so much. I think this RMR showed me that these emotions we have to treat them really carefully as a gamers. And there's very little people who talk about this, and hopefully pro players will open up a little bit more when it comes to this, and maybe even just by sharing this video. If you can't put it into words, maybe I tried it and maybe I failed, maybe I succeeded, I don't know, but just sharing this video will, you know, prompt more discussion about this, and I'd be glad to help anyone that is having any struggles. And maybe through this video and through these tips, you get to be more prepared in your future tournaments what to really focus on. Because the game itself, the Counter-Strike, those 16 rounds that you have to win on the server, that's far from being difficult or being hard. The preparation and the mental resilience that you have to put your body through, that is going to be something that will define your career. Either you will stay in the Counter-Strike scene for 1 or 2 years and you will be exhausted, tired, burned out, and you will leave, or you find ways for your body and your mental to come back, to bounce back, and you will find this longevity in your career. And this is something that good emotion from this has been a rather depressive video, but good emotion from this RMR for me is definitely, I'm being proud of myself for the longevity that I have. I have been in 2013 one map away from getting to the major. That was the first one, CSGO major. And now the last one in Paris, I'm actually attending it. So I've been around forever, since CSGO came out. And it's not a lot of players that manage to do this feat. And I'm proud of myself that I'm one of them, despite me not being, you know, in tier 1, tier 2, like I've been hovering in tier 2 or whatever. Like I've been not the greatest player, but definitely I've been part of some great teams. I found myself to be valuable in those teams. I hope that my expertise through these videos and through my content, I get to teach some other players as well, not only my teammates. And I'd be glad if this helped you. So yeah, it's been really difficult, it's been really tough, but I hope this somehow made sense. And I'm so glad that it's over. See you in Paris. Thank you, bye bye.